back to Data Centers News Asia. Good morning, James. How is Chennai?
Morning, Rhys. Chennai is very, very hot and humid, but it's been a good trip. Got to see a lot of different assets, meet a lot of different people over the last week, both here in Chennai and Delhi earlier on in the week.
Hotter and more humid than Singapore? We've been pushing
Hotter
up into
and more
some
humid than
records.
Singapore.
Oh,
Yes,
damn.
yes.
So that's saying something. We've been hitting some record mid 30s with around 80% humidity. So I imagine your shirts must be in great condition by the end of the week.
Well, thankfully I'm sitting on aircon most of the time, but there have been a few sweaty moments, I have to say.
Excellent. Well, we've got quite a lot of news to cover today, so we'll let you get on to the W.Media conference in just a second. But this week we are going through, there's two big stories from STT, or one big story and some speculation, I should say. Vantage, the announcement on their mega campus, CDC expanding in Sydney, at Tokyo, building another data center in Tokyo, of course. And there's an investment from Area 31 expanding their small data center in Indonesia. So I guess we'll start with STT, shall we?
Yeah, sure. This was the announcement of STT Fairview, their campus in obviously the Fairview part of Manila. This is a monster, 124 megawatts when fully built out across four buildings.
Yeah, so they already operate five small data centers with a 22 megawatt capacity, which I think is through that what was called Carbon Edge and is now called STT GDC Philippines. But this is the Globe, Ayala, and STT consortium. Interesting side note that Globe is also half owned by Ayala and Singtel, who are in turn owned by Temasek that own STT. So this kind of consortium together is already probably a market leader, I think, according to the database on in the Philippines.
It's I don't think it's number one in terms of capacity, but it's certainly in the top two or three.
So this 124 megawatt four building Fairview campus, which they've already broken ground on the first one. This I assume with that scale, that's going to be catering to the inbound hyperscalers to the Philippines.
Yeah, I think as per the press release, they made reference to hyperscale and enterprise business. I think both segments are going to see pretty enormous growth over the next decade or so. So yeah, I think obviously with the facilities of that scale, hyperscale is probably going to be a focus. But I think any enterprise they'd be more than happy to take. A lot of the other sites they do have are very centrally located, so they've got quite a variety of different assets there, which I think probably is quite attractive to quite attractive to both enterprise and hyperscale.
Excellent. Well, as you always like to say, one to watch. So certainly Manila has been the one to watch recently. Um, Sticking with STT, there was we don't like to peddle in gossip, but this is courtesy of Bloomberg. So this is one of Bloomberg's famous, according to people with knowledge in the matter, stories. But STT have been looking at raising another $1 billion US, and this is in advance of the rumored IPO that Bloomberg also reported on back in January when they were talking about a $5 billion valuation for STT.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't actually pick up on this. I didn't actually come across the story. It was only when you mentioned it this morning. But yeah, I think Bloomberg have, well, according to their sources, not sure who those sources are. They keep saying that SCT are going to be doing this stuff. It wouldn't be a complete shock if they did. Obviously, now they've got
Mm.
a substantial portfolio across multiple countries. IPO is generally the route that these kind of companies end up going down. So, yeah, like I have no inside knowledge on this, but wouldn't surprise me.
They did their sources. It was people with knowledge in the matter.
Yeah,
I mean, interesting to see where SCT goes with this. Obviously, I mean, one of the things that I did note on the bottom of the story was that they're up to 170 data centers in 9 countries, if you count Virtus in the UK and their minority
GDS.
stake in GDS. And STT, of course, is fully owned by Temasek. So some good news for the Singapore taxpayer of that IPOs. But yeah, interesting stuff from them. Well, sticking with the big money news, so Vantage in Cyberjaya was actually asking your friends at Knight Frank about this one because it seems like a pretty sizable real estate purchase, and they were involved in a lot of the research. So what's the details of this one, James?
Yeah, so Vantage obviously have already got an existing campus up in Kale, which they acquired via the acquisition of Agile and PCCW, which itself is not a huge campus, but excuse me, quite an impressive one. Actually saw it with Knight Frank, as you mentioned, about a month ago. Um, this second campus, which they're calling KUL2, going to be 256 megawatts when fully built out across 10 buildings. I don't think they broke that down into will it all be 25.6 megawatt buildings or will some be larger than others. But I think they said they expect to have the first building up end of 2025, Q4 2025. So about 2.5 years away. And I think I think the number attached to this deal or this development was $3 billion US. So yeah, like a huge campus, especially in the context of what's currently in Malaysia, or currently in KL, I should say, if you take out that if you remove that Johor capacity. So yeah, it's going to be major development up there and going to create a lot of jobs and all the other stuff that goes along with the development of the site.
Yeah, a big bet from Vantage on Malaysia there as a market. Obviously, this being Cyberjaya, not Johor, as you say. So this is not the Singapore data center splash zone. This is presumably to service the growing demand in Malaysia. I mean, there's been a lot. Actually, on the article here, there were several senior Malaysian government ministers talking about this development, and they've been their own policy of driving data sovereignty and pushing things onto the cloud. So yeah, ongoing developments there. But as you said, this is a huge campus, and I think the first one campus is there's the smaller building, there's the one that the two they've acquired, and there's two more they're building. So lots of construction from Vantage in Malaysia, and yeah, wish good luck to the team on getting this done on time.
Yeah. Good luck to everyone involved. Like I said, mega deal.
And so this is the next last couple we've got a slightly smaller deals, but no less important, I think. CDC Canberra Data Centres have acquired land for a second Sydney campus. Of course, being Australia, this was in Borough Park in Badgerys Creek. Always good with the naming conventions down in West Sydney. Yeah, it's a 17-hectare parcel of land, and it's quite near to their existing Sydney campus, I believe.
Yeah, don't think they like being called Canberra data centers anymore. I think it's just CDC. But
Oh, like KFC though.
yeah,
Probably not a comparison they would
and
like either.
yeah, and another campus style deployment from them by the looks of things. Again, we were actually out at their CDC. We got a tour, in fact, of their CDC West Sydney campus about 6 months or so ago. That's huge. It was one of the most impressive campuses and developments I've been to. They've obviously done very well with the government sector and with well, one of the clouds in particular, but I believe that's they've got a couple more either in or on the way. So yeah, I would guess the cloud is probably the driver behind this new development, or maybe the maybe some of the government want an additional site. I'm not sure, but yeah, CDC, like I think when they do things, they generally do them well. So yeah, congrats again to the team there.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, doing things big. The nearby Eastern Creek campus, this is currently 123 megawatt, four buildings, but set to grow to over 200 megawatt by the time it's completed at six. So this will be a second campus that they've just acquired the land for across from that. So huge amounts of capacity coming online in Sydney. And on the topic of huge amounts of capacity, you just updated me before the call confirmed. So at Tokyo are currently the market leader in Tokyo in terms of live capacity. And obviously we know there are, AirTrunk and various others at MTT with huge amounts of capacity coming online. But at Tokyo, the current market leader with four facilities in Tokyo, three in Osaka and one in, oh dear, pronunciation issue here, Fukuoka. And yeah, this is a new facility from them, 25 megawatt data center, and it's going to be quite centrally located, I believe.
Yeah, CCC3. They announced this development quite a while ago. They announced it at the tail end of 2020. But it is now making progress. 25 megawatts, heart of Tokyo, of course, electricity or power, I should say, obviously a huge issue in Japan. So I'm speculating that that may have been the bit of the holdup or whatever other permitting in Tokyo. Early 2025 is when they say it's going to come online. They've slightly increased the megawattage. I think when they announced it initially, it was going to be 22 megawatts, but now it's up to 25. So improvements and efficiencies or something like that, I would guess. And yeah, to your point, they are the market leader in terms of actually live built capacity in Tokyo, with close to 160 megawatts now. Yeah, which puts them quite a bit above NTT, who we record as having 106 megawatts. So yeah, they're doing big things well, continue to do big things. They've kind of been a market stalwart there in Tokyo before a lot of the international guys have come in more recently. So yeah, well done to them.
Interesting you mentioned the power issue there, Joe. So I found out this morning that one of Tokyo's key strategic investors, which I pushed before, is Tokyo Electric Power, or TEPCO, the utility that everyone's bidding for the power from. So that may account for some of their secret sauce in this in this lead. It's probably quite a potent strategic investor to have on as part of business.
Well, we don't speculate, Rhys. You know that.
Naturally. Indonesia. So this last story. Oh well, actually we've got a couple of other small stories that have been bumper news this week. But this last main story is quite. I guess we can gloss over this one a little bit. There's Area 31 are investing $67.5 million in their facility Depok, and so there's already a 20 megawatt facility there, and this is an expansion. So,
Yes. So I actually wasn't across the story, I have to admit. But Area 31, we've had interactions with in the past. They kind of built a facility which I think slipped through a lot of people's radars, but they are now out and about, out promoting it. I'm due to meet them in a couple of weeks. I have seen the literature and stuff like that around the facility. Again, it looks it looks very impressive. I physically haven't seen it, but I believe my colleague Vivian has. But yeah, another development in Jakarta. Jakarta, I think probably maybe 6 months ago was a bit quieter, but now we're seeing a lot of developments coming online. A lot of people going to market with new developments. Not all just down in the east, I should add. So there's a bit of variety now coming onto what's available there. Yeah, so wish Area 31 team well as they continue to make progress on their platform.
yeah, I mean, just so far in 2023, you've had the Singtel groundbreaking, we've had Equinix and Astra's partnership announced, we reported on BDX's big groundbreaking, of course, and PDG's expansion plans, including Batam. So Indonesia has actually had a busier 2023 than we might think, just because it's not quite as rampant as it was in 2021. But yeah, Indonesia's still marching on. Do we have time to? I'm conscious we're coming up to the LinkedIn 15-minute cordon, and we haven't covered. There was Edge Centers made a small acquisition in Australia.
Yeah, let's just rattle
week,
through them. Edge Centers acquired Host Networks, 550 kilowatt facility, scalable up to 800 kilowatts. That is in the Brisbane area, so that will, I think that will benefit, I suppose, their network of edge sites. Etix ITEL, this joint venture up in Bangkok. This is a pretty strategically important facility, actually. It's got a key cloud player in it already. They raised an additional 20 million to further build out that facility, add more capacity. So yeah, congrats to the Etix and the ITEL team on that. That was the two I had. What did you have? You've got 30 seconds.
CapitaLand has bought the Seagate factory in Singapore, which does have a data center on it, although I couldn't find the size, but I think that counts as news. And we're pretty much running out of time there for the week. Too much news. Maybe you guys in future can spread out the press releases a little bit so we're not feast and famine on the show.
Yeah, cool. Rhys, thanks again, and thanks everyone for watching. Bumper week.
Cheers.